Instagram blew up when NASA posted new photos of the universe. Not only can we see galaxies across the universe, but even objects in the celestial background that we never knew of. In this video, we'll be telling you all about how the James Webb Space Telescope comes closer to home with new images of Jupiter and its moons. And let us warn you, the photos are stunning. First up, we can finally see the fine details of Jupiter and its large moons. Years ago, NASA's biggest worry was whether the Webb Telescope would be able to open its 21-foot wide mirror. In the current day, the mirror easily picks up fine details of Jupiter and even its huge moons. The instruments on the telescope collect light at infrared wavelengths which are redder than visible light. Compared to what we've seen from the 30-year-old Hubble Space Telescope, Webb lets us see something completely different. In a NASA blog post, Stephanie Millam said that she couldn't believe that they saw everything so clearly. Millam is Webb's deputy project scientist for planetary science, and she couldn't imagine seeing the universe in such impeccable detail. Michael H. Wong is another astronomer at the University of California, Berkeley, who is leading Hubble observations of Jupiter. Dr. Wong mentioned that he's most excited for Webb to measure infrared light of wavelengths around 3 microns. These microns couldn't be observed from ground-based telescopes because much of the infrared spectrum is absorbed by Earth's atmosphere itself. Now that they've got Webb, there's finally a possibility to observe these wavelengths from space. And what will these measurements reveal? Well, some key spectral signatures about Jupiter's cloud particles. Also, Webb shows us everything that's invisible to the human eye. When we look at the deep field images released by NASA the other day, all we can think about is Webb's capability to observe everything in the universe. There was a time when we couldn't imagine looking at anything beyond the Earth. And now we've got a way to look at the faintest, most distant galaxies in our own cosmic backyard. Brian Holler is a scientist at the Space Telescope Science Institute in Baltimore, who helped with the planning for Webb's observations. From the images that Webb captured of Jupiter, we can easily see the giant planet's atmospheric bands along with the super famous Great Red Spot. This spot is a massive storm, almost twice the size of Earth, and it's been churning for over a century. Even though it looks white in the image, trust us, it's pretty red in real life. Scientists couldn't have imagined seeing all the tiny details on other planets if it wasn't for Webb. They could have used all the telescopes in the world and still wouldn't even be close to capturing what Webb has already shown us in a few infrared images. Wait, but how is Webb different from Hubble? Now that's a question that's been in everyone's mind for a long time now. People usually say that Webb replaced Hubble, but NASA prefers to call it a successor. And we must admit, that's a pretty smart way of describing it. Webb is truly the scientific successor to Hubble because its science goals were motivated by everything we found with Hubble. Hubble taught us to look at longer wavelengths and go beyond what Hubble had already done. There was a limit to the distance and red shift that Hubble could capture. Here's why Webb had to change everything to physically go beyond what Hubble captured. It was time to use an infrared telescope. We wouldn't call Webb a replacement for Hubble because their capabilities aren't identical at all. In fact, Webb looks at the universe in infrared light, while Hubble only studied it at optical and ultraviolet wavelengths. Webb also has a gigantic mirror, one that's much bigger than its predecessors. This means there's a large light collecting area which allows Webb to look farther back in time. NASA never sent Hubble too far into the universe, but Webb is already at the second Lagrange L2 point, which is 1.5 million kilometers away from Earth. Next up, let's talk about Europa. The latest Webb image of Jupiter showed us Europa, one of the planet's biggest moons. This one's super fascinating because it has a liquid water ocean under an icy crust. From ground-based telescopes, scientists have already learned that Europa's surface is mostly water ice. Back in 1979, 2 Voyager spacecraft passed through the Jovian system, and that was our first hint of Europa containing liquid water. Even Hubble has shown plumes of water erupting off Europa's surface. Even though Europa is 1/4 the diameter of Earth, its ocean can possibly contain twice as much water as all of Earth. This vast and unimaginably deep ocean is often considered the most promising place for life beyond Earth. And get this, the scientists can't wait to discover more. Webb makes observations of objects in the solar system by tracking them as they move relative to distant stars. Interestingly, Webb is designed to track Mars as it moves as fast as 30 milliarc seconds per second across the sky. During the testing phase, the Webb team of scientists observed multiple asteroids and found that Webb could easily make good observations on objects that move twice as quickly. With all this research already in the bag, the scientists can't wait to see what else they can discover. Dr. Hamill, an interdisciplinary scientist on the team, said that she plans to search for mysterious intermittent plumes of methane at Mars, and water plumes at Europa and Enceladus. And if that wasn't enough, then she also wishes to study the atmospheres of Uranus and Neptune. According to Hamill, the images are just satisfying their cravings a little bit. They can't wait for the real science to start. So what else can Webb capture? It's super exciting to think about Webb's capability to observe the most bizarre kinds of objects in our solar system. Some other perspectives of Jupiter even revealed the planet's faint rings, which proves that Webb can find the tiniest details in objects close to brighter planets like Saturn and Jupiter. Now, this is particularly exciting because Webb might be able to tell us about plumes of material releasing into space. We could finally understand the relationship between ocean worlds in our solar system, like Europa and Saturn's moon, Enceladus. With Webb, it's like looking at our own solar system with brand new infrared eyes. The telescope is out there looking for chemical traces of human existence, mysteries like the Great Red Spot, and even the atmospheric elements of Saturn's gigantic moon, Titan. John Mather, a senior project scientist at NASA, had been waiting for these images for 25 years. According to him, all the tools are working better than the team hoped. This means scientific breakthroughs are closer than we think. Mather also expressed his interest in knowing where human beings came from and what happened after the Big Bang that made galaxies, stars, and black holes. Even though there are predictions, Webb can give us an observational science that's full of surprises. And you should know that this is only the beginning. According to most scientists, the photos of Jupiter are only the preface of Webb's book. In fact, it'll be the chapters that follow which will change our understanding of the universe forever. Although the telescope's first results were excellent, they're only a taste of what Webb is truly capable of. In reality, scientists may not even have the right words to describe what's to come. They like to relate this situation to how Hubble's first light image couldn't possibly predict the astounding deep fields it later found. Nobody would have imagined that those images would be plastered across astronomy department walls, or that the galaxies would inspire poets. Thankfully, there are a few predictions about Webb's future. Even though it just came to the public eye recently, scientists have been standing in lines for years to use it. For now, researchers want to point Webb to phenomena that'll blow everyone away. Yup, we're talking black holes, galaxy merges, luminescent binary stars, smoke signals, and a marvel that's close to home, Ganymede, or Jupiter's icy moon. Interestingly, the researchers have already divided their proposals into 6 categories. Not to mention, over 200 international projects have been awarded time on the telescope, and there's an even longer list of those still waiting. In the director's discretionary early release science programs, there's a statement that says the science community can only realize the James Webb Space Telescope's full potential if they quickly learn to use its instruments and capabilities. This program was put together to choose investigators who would be testing Webb for the first 5 months of its official science operations. The initial space exploring done with Webb is supposed to be a win-win situation for both scientists and telescopes. They plan to create vast data sets, baselines, and life hacks, and just keep priming the machine's instruments for whatever comes next. This time, scientists want to be prepared for any big moment that goes down in history. We've already seen the most stunning images of the universe, but we can't wait to see what's next. Maybe another angle of the universe? After all, it is endless. And that's a wrap for this video. What do you think is the future of the Webb Telescope? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more awesome content like this. See you in the next one.